guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and I see you are too, so I think we can get started. It's Wednesday, May 29th, and it's 9:52 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, we don't have any Q posts to go over tonight, but we do have always. There is plenty of Q-related news, so that's what we're going to get into. Now, let me explain what happened yesterday. Oh my. Hang on here. Yeah, well, I told you that I was going to be doing 3 videos, and that was I had every intention of doing 3 videos. Well, I recorded the second one, and for some reason, when it uploaded to YouTube, and I have been having some difficulty with YouTube, and I think it's more a YouTube problem than it is on my end. But anyway, it rejected it, said the file was corrupted. So I suspected it had a little bit more to do with maybe the content, but I could be wrong. So I went ahead and did the 3rd video at that point because I wanted to get that out. Well, at that point I was getting a little bit tired, so I took a little bit of a break. I went and did my dishes, and I thought, no, I'm going to go back and record. Well, yeah, on the way back to record, I spied something that absolutely made my blood run cold. It was Sammy, and he had my microphone cord in his mouth. And just as I said, Sammy, the cord split in 2. So that's what I was off doing today, trying to find a new cord for my microphone, and I did. So all is well. But that is why I didn't do 3 videos last night, and we're going to pick up some of the news that I missed yesterday in this, and I have some new news. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it all in one video. There might be 2 videos tonight. I can't promise you that, but let's just see how it goes. So I hope you guys are all doing well and that you're having a good week so far. It's hump day. I always loved hump day when I was in the corporate world because I knew I was almost there, 2 more days. So anyway, let's get started. And I do want to thank you guys. Thank you, Heather, for the things that you have sent me, because they have been very helpful and interesting, and I do appreciate it very, very much. And I appreciate your friendship. And I also got your coffee money, which is enough coffee money to probably do me until, I don't know. If you see me and I'm all hopped up on coffee, you'll know what happened. Anyway, let's just get started here. And I appreciate you all, those of you that throw a coffee to me every now and then, a coffee or 2, and those that are Patreon supporters. I love you all. I'm thankful for you all, and whether you contribute or not makes no bearing on how I feel about you. So please don't feel that you are obligated in any way. I know that times are tough for some, and many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and I understand that. In fact, way too many are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's actually quite sad. I'm hoping that that changes in the next 4 years that Trump is in office, but we will see. Anyway, let's look at this. Holy crap. FISA court judge Rudolph Contreras, who oversaw General Flynn's case, is friends with corrupt FBI agent Peter Strzok, who set up General Flynn in the White House. The judge is now being accused of fraudulent FISA warrants in the FISA court. Well. Seems like these guys are all interconnected. You've got Mueller having an affair with Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, that's not a conflict of interest? Well, yeah, it is, but it doesn't seem to matter. And anyway, we seem to be getting a lot of that. A lot of, really weird connections between people that nobody really knew about. It's all coming out. And I don't know if you saw Mueller talk today. It was pretty anticlimactic. He didn't really say anything new, but he did try to twist it in a way that was more, leaning towards the left, so that the left could say, "Oh well, see, they found stuff. They just couldn't prosecute him because he's a sitting president." That's what they're saying. And Mueller really had absolutely nothing new to say, and he certainly doesn't want to testify because he knows that he would be cross-examined by the Republicans, and the Republicans would hang him out to dry, as they should. So anyway, this Obama-appointed FISA court judge, Contreras, who recused himself from the grand jury, FISA court judge Rudolph Contreras, who oversaw General Flynn's case, is friends with corrupt FBI agent Peter Strzok, who set up General Flynn in the White House. Now, it's interesting because they say that you rise or fall to the level of your associations. That's why pick your friends carefully, really, and keep your friends close and your enemies even closer. So, you really do rise or fall to the level of your associations, because a lot of times it's guilty by association. Here comes the tail. It's a tail alert. Well, not yet. He's waving it around just out of cam. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. There's the tail. Sammy. That took care of that. All right, then. All right, then next we have Wyatt, and he is responding to our president, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump said, "I was actually sticking up for Sleepy Joe Biden, while on foreign soil, Kim Jong-un called him a low IQ idiot, and many other things, whereas I related the quote of Chairman Kim as a much softer, low IQ individual." Who could possibly be upset with that? You have to love President Trump because he honestly is the master troller of all times. And anybody that doubts his IQ is not paying attention, for real. Now, I think he does certain things to make himself look like he's not as smart as he actually is, but he's way smart. And then Wyatt responds and says, "I'm not gay, but I think I'm falling in love with this man. I can feel it. Somebody stop me." Yeah, I feel the same way, Wyatt. Not attracted to Donald Trump physically, but you know something? I think I'm falling in love with him too. Who would have thunk it? All right. Let me see here. First day with the new hands, I guess. I don't know. Okay, let's go to the next one. Beto O'Rourke apologizes to campaign staff for being a giant hole in the hinder part. Let's go take a look at this, shall we? All right. Now, drink this before bed. No, that's not where we need to go. What is it? Oh, apple cider vinegar. Oh, that stuff. I know it's so good for you, but I can't do it. That's one thing I can't stomach. Beto O'Rourke apologizes to campaign staff for being a giant hole in the hinder part. Beto O'Rourke lost to Senator Ted Cruz last November by 2.6%, 214,921 votes to be exact. I just read the numbers that I want them to be, I guess. I don't know. So HBO, of course, decided to put out a documentary on the loser, which hit the airwaves on Tuesday in Running with Beto. The 2020 presidential candidate is seen apologizing to his campaign staff for being a giant hole in the hinder part. In the scene, O'Rourke joins a group of campaign staffers and thanks them for their work in the 2018 midterm election. "I just feel very, very lucky, and I love you guys more than you'll ever know," O'Rourke says. "I know I was a giant hole in the hinder part to be around sometimes, and you all never allowed my shortcomings to get in the way of running the best campaign this state has ever seen. If it was the best campaign the state has ever seen, why did you lose, Beto? Why? I'm just saying. While some viewed O'Rourke showing in Texas as miraculous, the state has been turning more blue every year, like Virginia, which was purple for a decade or two. Texas could well flip to the Democrats, who are making a big push to secure the states. I have a big... No, I don't think so. Texas? I don't think so. Not without cheating. Really. I don't think they could get that without cheating. In the doc, I don't think they could get any state without cheating, actually. I'm just saying. Maybe New York. There's probably a few where they could, but very few. In the doc, Beto comes off as a charismatic yet controlling, its most revealing moments being ones where he is seen dressing down his clearly overworked staff for their perceived lack of preparedness, the Daily Beast reported. The person on the receiving end of most of the scoldings is Cynthia Cano, his road manager. At several tense points in the film, Cano, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, is criticized by Beto in front of her campaign colleagues for not leaving enough time in his schedule for media interviews, having him be late to campaign events and not adequately prepping him for those events. Cano views Beto's penchant for going long in his speeches and wanting to speak with every single constituent and or person with a microphone as the reason for his constant tardiness and lack of prep time, which appears to be the more likely culprit. O'Rourke's campaign has been flagging almost since the moment he entered the 2020 race. Earlier this month, he said, "I recognize that I can do a better job also of talking to a national audience." Yeah, he's got about as much chance. He's got about as much chance of winning the presidency as a toothless person has in chewing a tough steak, I guess. I don't know. I just can't think up something off the cuff tonight. I don't know why. Just days ago, the New Yorker pulled out a piece headline, said, "Can Beto bounce back?" Wow. His campaign raised more than $6 million on the first day, a record. His early rallies in Iowa and New Hampshire were raucous and packed. Since that initial rush, however, O'Rourke has steadily sunk into the morass of a race with nearly 24 candidates. His standing in the polls has tumbled to sixth place. A media consensus seemed to have formed that he is a handsome lightweight, an entitled child of privilege who has failed up all his life, while O'Rourke has been assailed for a variety of flaws, gaffes, inexperience, tactical errors. Pete Buttigieg, there's another fun name, Buttigieg. But it's not as much fun to say because I know he's just such a hole in the ender part. So it's fun to say, but I don't like saying it because he's, a hole. All right. The 37-year-old mayor of South Bend, Indiana, has displaced him as the fresh young face. O'Rourke, unfazed, carries on with his upbeat, heavy scheduled, literally hard-driving run. By mid-May, according to his staff, he had driven more than 6,000 miles through 14 states, held more than 150 town hall meetings, visited 32 college campuses, and answered more than 1,000 questions. Well, good for him. It's about time he did a little work. The latest polls, though, put him in single digits. The Real Clear Politics RCP poll average stacks up like this: Biden 38.3, Sanders 18.8, Elizabeth Warren 8.5, Kamala Harris 7.3, and Buttigieg 7. Former Rep Robert Beto O'Rourke 3.8, and Cory Booker 2.5. So he's beating Cory Booker at this point, and that's all. And anybody could beat Cory Booker, seriously. In the latest Quinnipiac poll, what the heck is that? I don't know. The numbers were worse. Biden 35%, Sanders 16, Warren 13, Harris 8, Buttigieg 5, Booker 3, and O'Rourke 2. Well, there you go. I believe that poll. Although Buttigieg and him and Booker, they're probably tied, really. I mean, in real life. None of them have a chance. Warren doesn't have a chance. Sanders doesn't have a chance. And neither does Biden. This is the best they can come up with. I don't think so. All right. Let's go back to, and it wouldn't surprise me as we get closer if Hillary doesn't, say she's going to run again. Yeah, that's all we need. It'd be fun though, entertaining. No, really, it would. Okay, this from Lindsey Graham. After today's press conference, and that is the press conference with Bob Mueller. If you watched it, it was, well, you needed toothpicks to hold your eyes open. Those who were wishing and hoping that Bob Mueller would come forward, testify before Congress, and legitimize a retrial of the case must be sorely disappointed. As Mr. Mueller stated today, the report speaks for itself. Yes, it does. And I bet the poor Democrats are going to be crying themselves to sleep on their big pillows tonight. And this from Dan Bongino. Mueller ended his career today in total disgrace. It's rare to see such a lauded figure burn down his reputation so badly. Yes, I would agree. Now, let's listen to another mental midget. Stacey Abrams. Yeah, I don't get this either. But this is what she said. If we don't legalize voter fraud, we'll all be speaking Russian. No, I didn't get it either. You're not missing anything. Seriously, you're not. I know you're probably thinking, am I stupid because I don't get it? No, you're not stupid at all. Doesn't make sense. And neither does she. Well, that escalated quickly. Has never been as true as the bizarre conclusion by aspiring candidate for something. Stacey Abrams. Why this happened is fairly obvious. Stacey was invited to a national security forum. I'm not convinced that she can spell national security. And anyway, national security among Democrats these days means bizarre Russia conspiracies. Yes, it does. Abrams launched into a speech claiming that any effort to prevent voter is really voter suppression. Okay, that's up her alley because her entire candidacy for whatever is based on the claim that she would have won if it hadn't been for voter suppression. Okay, if voter suppression exists, Stacey is a viable candidate. If it doesn't, she's a delusional nut job. Yeah, it's the latter. But after delivering her voter suppression spiel, that's hard to say, people. You try it. Voter suppression spiel. She had to pivot to national security, aka Russian conspiracies, and she does this in a way that would have gotten her cheers at a Republican convention in the 1950s. This is one of those moments when you realize just how unmoored Democrats have been from any historical reality. The movement that has been squealing about McCarthyism for 2 generations is now declaring, if we do not secure our democracy in 2020, we'll be having a very different conversation, potentially in Russian, in 2030. What? Better dead than red. Okay. The Democrats finally came around. It just took them 70 years. Exit question. Does Stacey speak Ruski? A high-level staffer for Democratic Stacey Abrams resigned after he promoted the gubernatorial candidate on a Russian government-funded media outlet that the FBI is investigating as part of a potential Kremlin-backed operation to influence last year's presidential election. Oh, it just gets juicier and juicier. Really, you can't come up with this stuff. And, I don't care how talented a writer you may or may not be. You can't write this stuff even. It's just out there. So it was one of the least 3 appearances on Sputnik by Farrell, who worked as an outreach director for Vermont U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders' presidential bid before joining Abrams earlier this year. Cat alert. It's okay. I took care of it. Okay, the Vermont U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders' presidential bid before joining Abrams earlier this year. Both outlets were implicated in a declassified U.S. intelligence report that emerged in January and accused Russia of trying to help Donald Trump in last year's vote. He talked about how Democrats can defeat Trump in 2020 and how Abrams' Stone Mountain proposal would be a wedge issue that black voters would remember in the May primary. Looks like Stacey is Putin's candidate. Yes, she is. Yeah. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. Yeah, if we don't legalize voter fraud, that's what she said. If we don't legalize voter fraud, we'll all be speaking Russian. No, it's not you, okay? It's not you. Doesn't make any sense. All right, let's go on because we can. All right. Where am I here? All righty. I know, Sammy. It's a hard life being a kitten. Oh, terrible life. Okay, now, President Trump and the First Lady are staying in Japan. Now they are home now safely. And as the first state guest of the new era, Reiwa, Tokyo Skytree welcomes their historical visit with a special lighting inspired by the Stars and Stripes. Kia and I are looking forward to seeing them tomorrow. Now, they were given the welcome of royalty, really. And it's so interesting because remember when Trump went to China, he was the first president, I believe, to ever dine in the Forbidden City. So he's given these special welcomes almost everywhere he goes, except for some of the places like UK and so forth that actually spied on him. And of course, they not so gung-ho about him. In fact, Meghan Markle, or is it Markle? Yes, I think so. I know her first name's Meghan. I think it's Markle. She has declined to meet with President Trump, and I'm sure he's crying himself asleep. And I'm sure he's just probably just wailing and crying into his big pillow. Yeah, no, he's not. He's going to bed with probably one of the most beautiful women in the world, who's also liked and respected the world over. To me, she's kind of like a Lady Di. Like, she's got that same sense of something. She's got that special something. And she is treated very, very well wherever she goes and accepted quite well. And so is President Trump, except for those countries that are working against him. But it was lovely to see the enthusiasm by which Japan embraced him. We, of course, as Americans, want to see our president well received, and that's exactly what happened. And I think that he and Melania represented us with class and dignity. Absolutely. All right. Now, let's look at this because we can. And I loved this, and I wanted to show it. It says, retweet if you would like to see more of this. Law enforcement wearing MAGA hats greeting our president before he takes off on Air Force One. POTUS signed their hats before leaving. Now, he's always been very gracious to law enforcement, I have found, law enforcement and the military and whatnot. But let's just take a look at this. There really isn't any sound here, but I wanted you to see this. And here are law enforcement, and they're all wearing MAGA hats. You gotta love that. And apparently Trump took the time to sign their hats. And also, the Democrats were extremely upset about this, as you can imagine. So that makes it even more worthwhile. So let's go back, because we can. Alrighty, here we go. And let's look at this. Yeah, scratch and sniff Biden again. He's up to it again. You'd think he'd learn. Joe Biden asked for 10-year-old girl's address, tells her she's good looking. Creepy Uncle Joe back up to his old tricks. Yes, he is. Yeah, please tell me how that's appropriate. Joe Biden is being criticized for his creepy behavior once again after he asked a 10-year-old girl for her address and said, "I'll bet you're as bright as you are good looking." The incident occurred when Biden responded to a question from the child during an American Federation of Teachers town hall in Houston. "If you give me your address, I'm going to write you a long answer and tell you the exact things I would do, okay?" said Biden before adding, "I bet you're as bright as you are good looking." Yeah, that's not creepy. No. Joe Biden, who has publicly stated that he would stop touching women without their permission and would respect their space, touches a young girl at a campaign rally. Biden tells her, "I bet you're as bright as you are good looking." And that from Ryan Saavedra. And let's go down here. After learning that her favorite subject was journalism, Biden then led the girl over to reporters, held her by the shoulders, and whispered something in her ear. The Washington Post national political reporter Felicia Somez thought the encounter was odd, tweeting, "Recall that Biden filmed a video last month in which he vowed to respect women's personal space. Seems he hasn't quite gotten the message." As Zero Hedge notes, complimenting a 10-year-old prepubescent girl on her good looks doesn't quite jive with Biden's promise to reset the boundaries of personal space. No, it doesn't. As we document in the video below, this is by no means abnormal behavior for Biden. Now, let's take a look at this.
In light of the sexual abuse scandal sweeping the entertainment industry, the media, and Washington, D.C., we need to talk about creepy Uncle Joe. Well, that's not my invention. That's what the Washington Post labelled him back in 2015. Although written in a weird tongue-in-cheek style, the article cites numerous instances where Joe Biden made women uncomfortable by touching and grabbing them. But here's something way creepier than that. The way Uncle Joe behaves around children. Now let's be clear, Joe Biden has admitted no wrongdoing. No accusations of sexual harassment have been levelled against him, at least publicly. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But we need to talk about this because one Twitter thread alone, posted by activist and commentator Richard Mills, highlighting the subject, has been retweeted nearly 20,000 times. This is going viral. Biden is also signaling that he plans to run for president in 2020.
Now, I think this is 10 minutes long, so I'm not going to play it. And the other thing is, I think we're all familiar with all the stuff about Biden and his creepy touching, and not just of full-grown women. No, these are children, and some of them very young children, with one of whom he touched her breast, and she pulled away. She clearly knew, even though she was a young child, she clearly knew that that was going beyond the boundaries, because immediately she pulled away. And that was extremely uncomfortable for me to watch, because I was, you're seeing a child, and it looked like they were twins actually standing beside each other, and the one he was very, very touchy-feely with. So, yeah, unbelievable. There is a war on free speech without your support. Okay, well, that's it for this article anyway. And all right, now let's go back and see what else we can get into here. Yeah, can you imagine asking a 10-year-old girl for her address so he can write her a long letter? Oh, I bet he is. I hope her parents, well, I guess her parents probably weren't there because she was at a school thing. So, but I bet you they know about it now, and I bet you they're not happy. Okay, this by Lori Hendry. Serious question. Why is it when archaeologists find human remains, they're either male or female, and none of the other 700 genders? I never thought about that, but, what a clever thing to say. It's true, isn't it? You never hear them say, well, I think this person was a transgender. You never hear that, do you? All right. And this we've already looked at. Don't need to look at again, but let's look at this. And now I know you guys, this is not normal at all by any sense of the word normal. U.S. suffers more than 500 tornadoes in the last 30 days. What is going on? And it all seems to be concentrated in the middle. Now, I know that that's Tornado Alley, but there's also tornadoes that don't normally in places that don't normally get tornadoes, like Dayton, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. It's odd, and the thing is too, there's been so much flooding in the Midwest where the corn and soybeans and so forth grow. They haven't even got them in the ground yet. So this is not good, and it's not going to be good when we go to the grocery store 6 months from now at all. I mean, I don't know how it is there, but I know here, food, every single time I go to the grocery store, everything's up a dime, 50 cents, $1, and you don't notice it until you think, a few months go by and you go, wow, I'm spending like $200 more a month on groceries and I'm not getting anything different. And I'm sure that's happening to you guys as well. And especially if you want fresh fruit and vegetables, which is what I want. I don't buy all the processed stuff. So you pay through the nose for that here. Anyway, the mainstream media has been using the term uncharted territory to describe the unusual tornado outbreaks that have been happening in the middle of the country, but I don't think that truly captures the historic nature of what we are witnessing. Over the last 30 days, there have been more than 500 tornadoes in the United States. That is not normal. In fact, Tuesday was the 12th day in a row when at least 8 tornadoes were spawned, and that is the new all-time record. Community after community in the Midwest now looks like a war zone, and billions upon billions of dollars of damage has already been done. But this crisis is far from over because forecasters are telling us that more powerful storms will roar through the middle of the country on Wednesday. Now, I haven't checked the news today for that, but I'm sure that some of you in the middle of the country could let us know in the comments below what you're experiencing and what, I really hope and pray that none of you have been affected in terms of having your homes destroyed or your livelihoods destroyed. I sincerely hope not. I hope everybody is safe and well. But let me know what you're experiencing in your part of the country. If you are experiencing strange storms and unusual weather events, let us know in the comments below, because we've got people here from all over, not just America. We've got people from all over that listen. And so, I don't think people really probably understand how bad it is. And I can't say that I truly understand how bad it is because I'm not there right now. And so let us know. Let us know what you're experiencing, and we need to be informed, and we need to know what other people are suffering so that we can pray and we can lift them up in prayer at least. And I shouldn't say at least, because prayer really does change things, but sometimes there's so much more we can do as well. Anyway. Since 1998, there have been an average of 279 tornadoes during the month of May, so the fact that we have had more than 500 over the last 30 days means that we are running way, way above normal. In the last week alone, the authorities have linked tornadoes to at least 7 deaths and scores of injuries. Federal government weather forecasters logged preliminary reports of more than 500 tornadoes in a 30-day period, a rare figure if the reports are ultimately verified. After the start of the year proved mercifully quiet. The barrage continued Tuesday night as towns and cities across the Midwest took shelter from powerful storms. Tornadoes carved a line of devastation from eastern Kansas through Missouri, ripping trees and power lines in Lawrence, Kansas, southwest of Kansas City, and pulverizing houses in nearby Linwood. According to the National Weather Service, there were more than 50 tornadoes over Memorial Day weekend alone, and at this point, there have been at least 8 tornadoes in the U.S. for 12 consecutive days. Tuesday was the 12th consecutive day with at least 8 tornado reports, breaking the record. According to Dr. Marsh, the storms have drawn their fuel from 2 sources: a high-pressure area that pulled the Gulf of Mexico's warm, moist air into the central United States, where it combined with the effects of a trough trapped over the Rockies, which included strong winds. Now, I also want to ask you guys, I assume, I mean, most of you are fully awake, and some of you are just in the beginning stages of coming awake, but I don't know how much you know about weather engineering. It does exist. There's no question about that. Do you think that this is natural? Do you think it's, caused by global warming? Do you think it's weather warfare? Let me know in the comments below, because this is definitely not normal. The devastation that has been left behind by these storms has been immense. When Dayton Assistant Fire Chief Nicholas Hosford appeared on ABC's Good Morning America, he told viewers in his city there are homes flattened, entire apartment complexes destroyed, businesses throughout our community where walls have collapsed. Countless number of Americans have had their lives completely turned upside down, and of course the Midwest has already been reeling from unprecedented flooding in recent months. So far this year, much of the focus has been on the historic flooding along the Mississippi and Missouri rivers, but now severe flooding along the Arkansas River is threatening to break all-time records. Heavy rainfall over the past few weeks is threatening all-time May records and swelling rivers to record levels in parts of Arkansas and Oklahoma. The National Weather Service in Little Rock, Arkansas didn't mince words Sunday, expecting historic record flooding along the Arkansas River from Toad Suck Reservoir. Now there's a name for you, Toad Suck Reservoir. I like that, actually. Northwest of Little Rock to the Oklahoma border that could have impacts lasting well into the summer. In fact, USA Today is plainly stating that both states are bracing for their worst ever flooding. Not normal. Too much record-breaking. And it says, of course, let us not forget what is happening along the Mississippi River either. The flooding has been called the worst in over 90 years, and in some parts of the river, new records are being set. None of this is normal, and prior to the month of May, we had already witnessed the wettest 12 months in all of U.S. history. All of this wet weather has been absolutely disastrous for Midwest farmers, and so far in 2019, agricultural production is way below expectations. In the months ahead, we should all be prepared for much higher prices at the grocery store. So those of you that invest money, I think one of the best investments right now would be food. And I'm not saying that because I gain anything, because I don't sell anything like that. So I'm saying this because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing every week. If I have a little bit of extra money, I'm going to put more food away, because, if we know for a fact that the prices are going to go up, we do well to stock up now. It's like money in our pockets, really. So, and you don't have to, I know a lot of people are on fixed incomes and think, oh my gosh, I can't afford hardly to live now. But you can stock up for very cheap. You can live on beans and rice for a very long time because they make a complete protein. It's what people in the rainforest live on. When I was in the rainforest in Central America on the Mosquito Coast, that's what I lived on for quite a while. And you can add a few vegetables to it or whatever, but beans and rice and tortillas, that's what I lived on. And I did fine. All right. Now, weather patterns are going absolutely crazy, and we have never seen a year quite like this in modern American history. So what is going to happen if weather patterns get even crazier and national disasters just continue to become even more frequent and even more powerful? You may want to start thinking about that, because that is exactly what many people believe is going to happen, including myself. All right, now let's go back. This will probably end up being a long video because I've got a lot of stuff to get through here. This from Cat Turd. You know, love me some Cat Turd, just not in my litter box. Well, not my litter box. I use toilet. I leave the litter box to the cats, but Cat Turd's okay by me as long as I don't have to clean it out. Scoop, scoop. If Jerry Nadler really loved the USA, he'd donate all of his zippers to be melted down so we could build a new aircraft carrier, the USS Zipper. I love that guy. I assume it's a man. He writes like he's a man, but one never knows. All right, and now for this. Now you tell me. This is important. This is very important. 13 illegal immigrants, you know, illegal. Immigrants of the illegal persuasion, non-documented. Arrested in California wearing U.S. Marine uniforms. Now that should make you sit up and go, huh? Where'd they get Marine uniforms? Why were they masquerading as Marines? Well, let's see. Border Patrol agents recently arrested 13 illegal immigrants disguised as U.S. Marines and riding in a fake military van. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said Tuesday the illegal immigrants were clad in Marine uniforms when they were apprehended at the Campo Border Patrol westbound I-8 checkpoint at 11 p.m. on March 14th near Pine Valley. Now, I know this is a bit old, but considering what's happening right now, it's pertinent. California Border Patrol agents said, or officials said, 2 U.S. citizens in the van were also arrested. So there's 2 U.S. citizens and 13 illegal immigrants. Wearing, curiously enough, U.S. Marine uniforms. After the suspicious white van was subjected to secondary inspection, it was determined that the driver of the vehicle and its front seat passenger were U.S. citizens who were attempting to smuggle 13 illegal immigrants into the United States. All of the vehicles, now this, I'm sorry, this makes me laugh. All of the vehicle's occupants wore U.S. Marine uniforms, reportedly emblazoned with the name Perez. Okay, if you're going to have 13 illegal immigrants in one van and they've all got the name tag Perez, do you think that might be a little bit, I don't know, suspicious? What did these guys say? Oh, yeah, we're all brothers. Like, whoever went to all that trouble to get them the uniforms, couldn't they put different names on it? They all said Perez. Yeah. Okay, then. Yeah. This effort is an example of the lengths smugglers will go to avoid detection and the skilled and effective police work and vigilance. I don't think that that's effective police work, to tell you the truth. Because if you stop a van and you look in and there's 15 people in the van and they've all got U.S. Marine uniforms on and only the guys in the front seat gave ID and everybody has the name badge Perez, yeah, I'm thinking that's pretty suspicious. The van used in the smuggling attempt, according to California's El Centro Border Intelligence Center, was a privately owned vehicle registered out of Yucca Valley, California, and was bearing stolen government plates that had been defaced. The center digit 0 was altered to read as an 8. Further research through multiple government agencies determined that the plate belonged to a 1-ton cargo van registered to the U.S. Marine Corps. The military referred inquiries back to the Custom and Border Protection. The van entered into the United States via Mexicali, Mexico, and proceeded to Calexico, California, where the U.S. Marine uniforms were donned, according to Homeland Security today. The Campo border station was constructed in June 2008 and is located roughly 28 miles east of San Diego sector headquarters in rural East San Diego County. It is responsible for securing 13.1 linear miles of the U.S.-Mexico border and 417 square miles of surrounding territory. An estimated 7,000 vehicles pass through its 2 checkpoints daily, according to its website. So it doesn't say here whether the 2 guys in the front who were American citizens were actually U.S. Marines or not, or where they got these uniforms from, obviously they stole the license plate from the Marine Corps. So that leads me to believe that possibly one or both of the American citizens was a Marine. But why? What were they trying to do? Were they just smuggling them in, or did they have something more nefarious in mind? And they're all named Perez. Every single one of them are named Perez. Their last names, Perez. No, nothing suspicious about that. We're all brothers, all 15 of us. Yeah, there you go. Things that make you go, And this, Trump campaign considers creating a new account on a conservative version of Twitter. Now, that's good news to me, and I assume that he's talking about Gab, because I can't think of anything that's like Twitter that is conservative except for Gab. So, and it's interesting because they were asking, they took a poll on Twitter a few days ago saying, if President Trump leaves Twitter, would you follow? Well, I answered yes. Because if Trump leaves, a lot of the people I follow will leave as well. And I'm following Trump and, conservative news on Twitter. If that's no longer there, yes, I would go and follow Trump. And I'm pretty sure all the rest of the people would too that follow him. So not so good for Twitter. And I think that he should, because I am sick and tired of all the games that Twitter plays and Facebook and all of them. They're all playing the games. All right. Now, in Trudeau's Canada, Christians are not welcome. Well, I could have told you that. In Trudeau's Canada, Christians are not welcome. According to a new clause introduced by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, pro-life Christians will be barred from federal funding unless they support a woman's right to an abortion. Conservative Christian applicants for youth summer jobs programs, which provides grants to not-for-profit employers in order to encourage the hiring of students, must betray their conscience in order to qualify for federal funds. I have met Justin Trudeau 3 times, said Pastor Steve Long, a Canadian Baptist minister. Sadly, my last meeting with him in his office was very disappointing. He told me that evangelical Christians were the worst part of Canadian society. The truth is that Trudeau's enmity towards Christian is not solely against evangelicals. The abortion clause has been met with much concern by a growing number of faith-based communities in Canada. Father Nayaz Atoma, a Chaldean Catholic priest, said his community of Iraqi Christians won't be able to apply for the grant and has referred to the attestation as a persecution of his people. We will never compromise our faith for the sake of grants to be received from the Canadian government, said Father Toma. The Trudeau government has exhibited a long history of irreverence toward Christian beliefs, such as when Trudeau himself was photographed wearing a Christmas sweater depicting the Last Supper with party emojis. Trudeau also came to the defense of his newly appointed Governor General, accused of mocking religious people who believed that divine intervention played a role in the formation of life on Earth. While these actions are certainly disrespectful, Canada under Trudeau has become a very unwelcome place for Christians who flee from the persecution in the Middle East. When former Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper prioritized Christian and religious minorities for refugee status because they were targeted for extermination by ISIS, Trudeau called this policy disgusting. When the genocide against Yazidis and Christians by ISIS took place, the Canadian government under Harper immediately sent Canadian forces to their rescue, said Steve Mammon, affectionately known by many as the Jewish swindler, Schindler, rather, not Swindler, for rescuing over 140 Yazidi and Christian women forced into sex slavery by ISIS, Prime Minister Harper and his Defense Minister Jason Kennedy have traveled together to the Kurdish territories and pledged $140 million in assistance. Harper also coordinated with CYCI, the Liberation of Christian and Yazidi Children of Iraq, Mamon's foundation to assist Yazidi in Greece and the Kurdish territories. It was Harper who also launched Canadians' Office of Religious Freedom in order to monitor religious persecution and protect freedom of religion internationally. Shortly after taking office, Trudeau closed the agency. Trudeau also withdrew Canada's fighter jets from bombing operations against ISIS. Over 30,000 Syrian refugees were brought to Canada in an expedited manner and found themselves immediately taken care of by the Trudeau government, says Mamon. Despite Canada recognizing the genocide of Yazidis, the fact that the Trudeau government offered help only to 1,200 Yazidis speaks for itself, and absolutely no help was offered to the Christian victims. It is clear that Trudeau does not hold the highest regard for Christians, whether inside or outside of Canada. But what is deeply concerning is the praise he offers to ISIS jihadists who return to Canada. In a year-end interview, Trudeau expressed his belief that Canadian nationals who join ISIS can be rehabilitated into powerful voices against radicalism in Canada. Yeah, and that's not what's happening. And they're letting in, he believes that they can be rehabilitated. And so he's let in these ISIS fighters that are responsible for killing Christians. Well, they're now in Canada and everything's paid for them. Yeah, they get everything. They get free medical, free dental, free eyewear, eye care, everything. And I think they're getting way more per month than any senior gets. Or vet. So unlike the United States, Trudeau plans on welcoming back ISIS fighters with open arms. One rehabilitation program that was allocated $367,000 Canadian dollars uses art-based pedagogy and poetry to empower and broaden population in understanding how ISIS is using and abusing religious interpretations. Canadian Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale confirmed that there are at least 60 ISIS terrorists currently in Canada, most of them in Toronto. In fact, it says, rather than seeking to rehabilitate ISIS fighters, Trudeau should instead show a little more compassion to their victims. By being exclusionary towards Christians, Trudeau has made Canada less tolerant and less safe for all of its people. Now, I want to tell you, there was a story of a girl that had been sold into slavery to be a sex slave for ISIS, witnessed people being killed, was treated brutally, and she was brought to Canada, and she was on a city bus in Toronto or just north of Toronto. I can't remember exactly where, but it was in the vicinity. And she was on this bus, and guess who walked onto the bus? Yeah, it was the guy that had kidnapped her and sold her into sex slavery. So, imagine how she must have felt and how safe she must have felt in her new country. Well, they're rolling out the welcome mat to the ISIS fighters here. So, and Trudeau really does hate Christians. It's very, very evident. Okay, let's go back. And I bring that to you. I mean, I do have some Canadians that listen, but also, if you don't think what's here in Canada affects you guys, it does. Because those ISIS fighters, all they have to do is walk over the border. You know it's true. All right, panic intensifies. This by Praying Medic. Panic intensifies. Comey publicly denies Trump's charge of treason. Well, naturally, he would. He said, no treason, no coup, just lies, and dumb lies at that. And that was his quote. Well, we'll see about that, Comey. I mean, you are not a very smart person because everything's recorded. They've got it all, as in all. But you go ahead and deny if you think that's going to help you any. Yeah. Now, in light of what I spoke in my last video about disease and so forth coming across, let's look at this, shall we? Dr. Drew Pinsky warns Los Angeles could be at risk of a deadly epidemic this summer. Well, I would say that it's more than just a risk. It's pretty much gonna happen unless something cataclysmic happens between now and then, because, well, listen to this. Thousands of lives may be at risk this summer in Los Angeles, and politicians could be to blame. According to one famous TV doctor, radio host and addiction medicine specialist, Dr. Drew Pinsky, talked about the horrific conditions on the street of America's second largest city Thursday before making the frightening prediction on Fox News Radio's The Brian Kilmeade Show, which also airs on Fox Nation. I live in the great state of California, the utopia that is California, which is a nightmare, Pinsky said. I want to give you a prediction here. There will be a major infectious disease epidemic this summer in Los Angeles. Pinsky described to Kilmeade what he believes to be the most medieval conditions in the City of Angels and compared local politicians to Nero, the famous Roman emperor who allegedly fiddled while his nation burned. We have tens and tens of thousands of people living in tents. In fact, there are more homeless people than there are high school graduates. Yeah. Wow. We're the only city in the country, Los Angeles, without a rodent control program, rather. They have no rodent control program. The homelessness is, way out of control, and they're pooping in the streets, because where else do they have to poop? So we have multiple rodent-borne, flea-borne illnesses, plague, typhus. We're going to have louse-borne illness. If measles breaks into that population, we have tuberculosis exploding. Literally, our politicians are like Nero. It's worse than Nero, Pinsky said. And they've even had cases of the plague. Yeah, that one. The Black Plague, that killed just about everybody. Well, it seems that way. American cities are unlivable. Blame wealthy liberals. Oh, that's who we blame. Oh, yes. Make no mistake about it. That's exactly who we blame. The demise of a California housing measure shows how progressives abandon progressive values in their own backyards. Well, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? People like Pelosi and Waters and gosh, I can't even think of all the ones in California right now, but they're all of the same ilk, and they live in nice big houses with clean running water and great big walls around them. So do they care if there's poop in the street and garbage overflowing everywhere with rats as big as cats? Seriously. Homelessness and trash are a growing problem for residents in Los Angeles, and as garbage piles up, so do the rats, fueling concerns about flea-borne typhus, according to a report this week. Pinsky said the city's homeless situation and sanitation crisis are out of hand, and politicians are doing nothing to stop it. And into this mix are flowing hundreds of thousands of immigrants, bearing even more illness. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Oh, hang on. He said the homeless and sanitation crisis is out of hand. Politicians are doing nothing to stop it. Well, of course not. They're too busy trying to drum up something on Trump. They're not interested in helping anybody. They're not interested in doing the jobs that we pay them to do. They're not interested. They've got nice big homes with great big walls around them. They don't care. And all they're concerned about is getting Trump, because they want to retain the power and the money. He believes the mentally ill will suffer the most and that officials are not reacting to an eventual epidemic. It's like nothing I've ever seen in my life, Pinsky said. I feel like I'm on a train track waving at the train, and the train is going to go off the bridge. The bridge is out. Pinsky added, here's what I want to do. I want to take away all qualified immunity from the politicians so we can go after them for reckless negligence. That's exactly what needs to happen. Exactly what needs to happen. Like, where are these guys? They're so concerned about what's happening with Trump. And they're so upset that Mueller didn't find something on Trump. They're so upset about that and trying to, save their own skins. They don't care. They don't care about the people you saw Pelosi. That's how she treated Sarah Sanders. Or not Sarah Sanders, but Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne Conway tried to ask her a question. He goes, I don't speak to the staff. Yeah, okay. She needs to remember who pays her salary. Really. That was Pelosi that did that. Okay, let's go back and see what else here. Now, and Midwest crop catastrophe, new USDA crop progress report indicates a nightmare scenario is upon us. I'm not going to go out to read that because it's very much tied in with the report on the tornadoes and the flooding in the Midwest. And it already is a catastrophe for the crops, and it is going to translate to higher prices in the grocery store. There's just no doubt about it. Then we've got the pig Ebola in China, and they have had to put down more pigs than even exist in the USA. So they've had to kill more pigs than even exists in all of the USA. Wow. That's a lot. Now, here's a little bit of comic relief for you because we need it by now. Married man spends $76,000 to look like the perfect woman. Well, I'm going to show you this really good-looking man now. I mean, he's one good-looking woman. Yeah. I think he should have saved his money. Here he is. Yep. There he is. Now, I don't know. He doesn't look like a woman. Doesn't look like a man. I don't know what he looks like. But those lips are something. I mean, they're something. Yeah, he's a married man. I don't know if he's married to a woman or a man, but he's married. And he spent $76,000 to look like that. I could think of so many things that I could do with $76,000 right now. And none of them involve me looking like that. So anyway, let's move along. Nothing to see here. Oh, and the British Army says people who describe themselves as patriots are extremist right-wingers. I'm not going to go out to that. I just wanted to make you aware of it. And let's look at this. This one red cracker for Trump. Rumsfeld announces $2.3 trillion missing from Pentagon. CBS News, September 10th, 2001. The next morning, the Pentagon is hit in the exact location where the budget analysts were trying to track down the missing money, killing analysts and destroying records. No coincidence there. Nothing suspicious. I know we all know that. I know we know this, but I was just, I saw it on Twitter, on Twitter, and I just clipped it out because you know what? We need to be reminded of this stuff. We really do. Okay, and here, the collegefix.com university sex class reportedly includes a raffle for free pornography. Yeah. And I'm not going to go out to that because I've got too much to get through. Now, this concerns me. And I know what you guys are going to say. You're going to say, oh, but it's good that he can go and, observe and tell us what's happening with the New World Order. Jared Kushner, senior White House advisor, to meet with King of Jordan and attend the Bilderberg meeting this week in Switzerland. That concerns me. You know why? Do you think they're going to invite a white hat to the Bilderberg meeting? If you do, I got some, swampy land I could sell you. Yeah, tell me what you think about this, because I really, really want to know. And I know some of you will give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I don't know. I don't know where I stand, because I do know that they're not going to just invite anybody to the Bilderberg meeting. But wait, maybe they are, because I'm not done yet. Also included on the list from USA, Stacey Abrams. What? She is on the board of the Center for American Progress, mostly funded by Soros. Oh, they must have big plans for her, because she's invited to Bilderberg. And not just anybody's invited to Bilderberg. Boy, I bet you they were all so upset when she lost, and she did lose. She doesn't like to admit it, but she lost. But yeah, we've got Stacey Abrams and Jared Kushner going to Bilderberg. How weird is that? Just about the weirdest thing I've ever heard. So please let me know what you think about that. I would love to hear your opinions. And this is Hillary. Yes, it is. And this was what she was wearing on Memorial Day, a little parade or whatever. And what the heck is she wearing? I'm so glad she's not our president, but she's got like this big muumuu that's like a navy with, I don't know, a pattern of, kind of looks like a geometric pattern on it. Okay. So she's got this muumuu, these, big white beads, which are out. And she's got a Fitbit on. Yeah, a Fitbit. And then she tops this ensemble off with stretchy pants, black and navy. They don't go together. So that's what she's topping this ensemble off with, black stretchy pants. And it looks like very thin, kind of cream colored socks with canvas shoes. All right then. When did she always used to dress, decently. What's up with this? No, seriously. And she's gained a lot of weight. And we're not talking a little bit of weight here. We're talking significant, like I'd say 80 to 100 pounds. Really. Now, not that I am faulting someone for gaining weight, because you know what? It happens. She's getting older. She's probably not as active as she's used to being. And okay, she's, whatever. But I don't know. Just seems odd. What do you guys think? I'm going to skip this for right now, but I am going to read this. Charlie Kirk spends $8 million to fix homelessness. And San Francisco spends $8 million to fix homelessness, yet it increases by 17%. Yeah, $8 million, and it increases by 17%. It bans straws, but it hands out drug needles. Yeah, those straws, man, they kill people. Homeless addicts outnumber high school graduates. Loves the environment, but the streets are littered with human waste. This is the Democrats' vision for America. Yeah, so if we had a Democrat in office right now, that's what we'd be facing. Really. Eventually, that's what would happen to all the cities. because every city that's run by a Democrat is a hellhole, literally. And you know I speak the truth as I see it. All right, now this is other good news here. French Senate says Notre Dame must be restored exactly to how it was. So no swimming pools. You know, nothing says introspection, reflection, meditation than a big pool on the roof of a church, historic church, filled with tourists in bikinis. And yeah, no, I guess the French Senate said no. Has to be restored exactly how it was. So that's good news, because what they were considering was just ludicrous. I mean, it was out there. So, all right. Now, I have been going for a long time here, and I'm going to stop. And I will be, I don't think I'm going to do another video tonight, but I will be back tomorrow. And if Q posts, I will be posting Q. And if he does not, I will certainly there's always lots of Q-related news. So that's it for tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking the truth, because you know, just as well as I, that deception bites. Good night, guys.